Like humans, all the animals alive on Earth and even some plants need to eat in order to survive and thrive. But unlike humans, they don't always care about hygiene or health and eat up things that no one in their right mind should. These odd feeding behaviors are manifested by a surprisingly large number of species. Sometimes there's an understandable reason behind it, but other times there isn't, and so far even zoologists haven't figured out how or why some animals eat strange things. In today's video, we'll tell you all about the 20 of the weirdest things ever found inside animals. So make sure you watch till the end and give this video a thumbs up. A new species of ant in frog vomit. Biologists discover thousands of new plants and animals in the farthest corners of the world, but what they never expected was to find a new species of ant inside the stomach of a poisonous frog. This discovery originated from the stomach of the Oophaga sylvatica frog native to South America, where it's known as kiki or diablito. Scientists carefully extracted the stomach fluids of the frog without killing it. They were trying to learn more about the life cycle and habits of this toxic tropical amphibian. In these fluids, they found the ant with strong forceps-shaped jaws. Not a lot is known about it, as so far only one specimen has been found and studied. The ant was named after the famous German biologist Bert Holdobler. The frog in which it was found is scientifically called Lenomyrmax holdobleri and inhabits the northwestern mountains of Ecuador. Python vomits whole pet cat. It's not an easy task to look after a pet cat, as they're pretty demanding animals. However, one thing no one expects is to have their cat swallowed whole by a massive and menacing python snake. But the 59-year-old Surok Tyron was in for a surprise when she noticed a 5-meter-long python slither into her house in Patmontani in northern metropolitan Bangkok. The snake must have been hungry, as it considered the old woman's cat named Bobo the perfect snack, and swallowed the entire animal in just one swift motion. The python tried to find a quiet and dark spot to digest its food and found it inside a little cupboard under the sink. Sharon called the Shikubang Luang police and life control officers, who immediately arrived and tried rescuing Bobo by moving the reptile on the patio. They were trying to make the snake vomit the cat out. Their manipulation worked, but unfortunately Bobo didn't make it. Puppy swallowed a foot-long toy arrow. This cute little puppy is just 12 weeks old, and from the ordeal she got herself into, we can safely assume that she's a mischievous one. She ended up needing life-saving surgery when she accidentally swallowed a toy arrow that was almost as long as her own body. The Staffordshire Bull Terrier named Lola scared the wits out of her owners, who thought she had swallowed a pen initially, but later they realized it was an arrow measuring almost a foot in length. Lola's dad, Luke Ponter, noticed the adorable puppy choking when he gave her breakfast. He thought it was just her swallowing the food and drove the kids to school, but when he returned he saw that Lola was struggling to breathe. He rushed her to the animal hospital, where the vet safely removed the arrow and saved the poor dog's life. It wasn't an easy task, though, as the arrow had lodged in her stomach and gastrointestinal tract. 5,000-year-old arrowhead in alligator's stomach. Some pretty valuable antique objects have been recovered from the stomach of a 13-foot, 5-inch-long alligator. It was hunted in Mississippi and weighed a whopping 750 pounds. The hunter John Hamilton, who caught the alligator, took it to Shane's Red Antler processing plant in Yazoo City for dissection. But inside the predator's stomach they found something unbelievable. They discovered an arrowhead and a heavy teardrop-shaped plumb line in there. According to historians, these tools were used by Native Americans thousands of years ago. Shane Smith, the owner of the plant, assumed that the alligator probably ate the arrow someone had shot at it, or maybe the alligator just found it lying around somewhere and ate it. Experts have revealed that the arrowhead is about 5,000 years old and belongs to a primitive weapon. The plumb line reportedly dates back to 1700 BC. A sea lion's head. It's hard to say what the record-breaking largest mako shark eats, but this recent discovery suggests it can eat an entire sea lion. This 1,323-pound giant mako shark was caught from the coast of California by 3 fishermen back in June 2013. They were actually filming the whole ordeal for a TV reality show. This was a legal but controversial catch, and many viewers didn't approve of it. The specimen did, however, help in scientific research. Its massive stomach was sent to a research facility run by the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration in San Diego. They studied the contents of the shark's stomach. Inside, they found partially digested remains of the shark's previous meals that helped biologists learn more about the intricate workings of the marine food web. Amongst the remains, they also found the partially digested sea lion that may have been attacked and eaten up by this shark. Experts think the wounds of this digested sea lion will help them learn more about the shark bite effect. Vibrator in the belly of a cod. Byron Freeland is a Norwegian fisherman who was left baffled by what he found inside a fish he was gutting. The 64-year-old was fishing on the west coast of Norway like most other days, but it was his lucky day as he caught a cod that was carrying a 16-centimeter long rubber vibrator inside it. An even more unsettling thing is that the vibrator was in motion. The batteries of the sex toy were somehow working despite being inside the cod's stomach. We sure would like to know how the cod felt with his strange vibrating machine inside of it. The fisherman told the press that the fish probably confused the vibrator with a squid and swallowed it. According to him, the vibrator must have come from one of the party cruise ships bordering Norway that are polluting the coastal waters. This is a one-in-a-million kind of incident that will probably never be repeated. Giant catfish trying to eat a turtle. The catfish is quite famous around the world, especially because of its cat-like whiskers. This legendary fish species will eat almost anything it can find, and in this case the gigantic predatory fish was found trying to devour an American red-eared turtle. A group of paddlers came across the intriguing scene while visiting Kisi. They spotted the catfish floating near the riverbank, but it was still alive. They approached the fish to see what was happening. That's when they saw the rear end legs of the turtle protruding out of the mouth of the catfish. The turtle was stuck in its mouth, so without the intervention of the paddlers, both the creatures would have died. Thankfully, they knew what to do and saved the lives of both animals. Entire beach towel. This unfortunate snake you see somehow ended up swallowing an entire beach towel that got inside it. The veterinarians in Australia who treated it were left awestruck by what they found. Just one silly mistake by the python could have killed it. The Monty python is an 18-year-old female pet carpet python. Her owners got extremely worried when they noticed that their beloved snake was unable to breathe properly. They brought her to the veterinarian's office where she was administered some anesthetic and a radiography was done. They found out she'd swallowed the full-size towel and it was still inside her. They used an endoscope camera and forceps to softly pull out the towel by its tip. The procedure was successful and Monty was discharged on the same day. An unopened bottle of whiskey inside a fish. While most people take whiskey with them while going fishing, some are lucky enough to just find it inside their catch. This fisherman actually got a 2-in-1 deal when the fish he caught was found carrying a still unopened bottle of liquor inside it. The young fisherman had no idea he would find this sealed bottle of whiskey while he was just showing off his knife skills on the fish he'd caught. When he began cleaning the insides of the fish, he felt something hard inside. And to his surprise, it was an unopened bottle of Fireball cinnamon whiskey. He was definitely thrilled by this discovery, but how did it get inside the fish? Most people think that the bottle probably fell into the ocean and the fish swallowed it thinking it was food. Or maybe the fish was on its way to a party and was planning to drink it with its mates. Dog steals dentures. The owner of this dog could not stop laughing when she discovered her beloved but naughty little puppy wearing false teeth. The cute little dog is called Milo the Jackapoo, and his mom caught him on camera with a hilarious but creepy grin. He was wearing the dentures of his human grandmother and wandering around the house. Somehow, the mischievous little thief had broken into a bedroom drawer and stolen the dentures. His owner, Stacey Owens, a resident of Wales, was finding it hard to compose herself as she could not stop laughing at the puppy. He refused to give the dentures back. Stacey explained that 8-month-old Milo had just learned to open drawers and was causing a lot of trouble at the Owen household. Ancient spears found in fish. Strangely, many unbelievable things have been found inside sharks and other fish throughout history. Some of these discoveries seem outwardly as if they don't resemble anything we use or see on dry land. These ancient spears that could only have been forged by a humanoid creature with opposable thumbs and high intelligence, and to our knowledge no such creature exists in the ocean. Maybe a mermaid made these. After all, there have been numerous sightings reported of mermaids in history. The sophisticated ancient spearheads are seemingly made up of bone matter and were found lodged in a shark's side. Does that mean the mythical mermaids used them as weapons and for self-defense? A fisherman named Hans Bauer, who found them, has said that this isn't a rare occurrence. They often fish out of sharks with spears on their sides, especially in the Baltic Sea. He also claims to have seen a creature that looked a lot like a mermaid. He took pictures of the creature and is pretty much convinced that it's responsible for making these strange spears. Python eats porcupine and instantly regrets it. This clip of two incredibly dangerous animals in a situation where neither one could survive is not for the light-hearted. A cyclist decided to go on a mountain bike trail at the Ellen Game Reserve of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. He was expecting to see some wildlife, but what he found was nowhere near normal. On the side of the trail, he spotted an unusually bloated snake, though it was still alive. The poor animal was in a lot of pain, so the cyclist called the park rangers. The rangers thought the snake might have swallowed something bigger than it could handle. In the wildlife sanctuary, it was looked after, but the snake couldn't survive and passed away. The vets then decided to cut it open and see what was stuck inside. To their surprise, there was a whole porcupine lodged inside the snake's gut. No wonder the snake didn't make it. 1883 Herald found inside sunfish. Researchers at the London National History Museum discovered something mind-blowing while they were restoring a massive 3-metre-long sunfish. Inside the fish, they found a Sydney Morning Herald clipping dating back to the year 1883. How did this clipping get inside the fish and why is it still intact? Well, actually, the sunfish washed up at the Sydney Harbour in 1882. It was alive and a crane was used to pull it to the shore. It was then hacked to death by the locals wielding axes who thought it was some sort of monster. The carcass of this sunfish eventually ended up in London, but scientists are still shocked by the paper clipping. They still have no idea who put it in there or why. Was this a prank or some sort of ritual? Guess we'll never know. Plastic fork removed from Olive Ridley's nose. Plastic is literally suffocating the oceans, and this incident is just one more example of how big a hazard it is. A plastic fork was found stuck on the nose of an Olive Ridley turtle. The poor animal was struggling and having difficulty breathing. Without human intervention, the animal would have died a slow and painful death. This turtle was fortunately discovered on a beach by a group of sympathetic people who pulled the fork out and relieved the hurting animal with the help of a Swiss Army knife. This is a lesson for everyone to not leave behind plastic items on the beach. Hard to swallow. Just like the snake that suffered a painful death after trying to devour a porcupine, this shark got itself in trouble trying to munch on a porcupine fish. Choking to death on your dinner is a terrible way to go. The prickly creature just got stuck halfway into the shark's gullet and suffocated it to death. Its gills were blocked and therefore it was unable to breathe. Unfortunately, the porcupine fish lost its life too. This happened on April 21, 2017 in the tropical waters of the Maldives, and the shark killed by the porcupine fish was a young lemon shark. Maybe the young shark didn't know pufferfish can inflate their bodies when they sense danger, and several deadly spines also appear on their bodies in this state. Swallowed by a humpback whale. This has to be the most terrifying encounter between a whale and a human. The humpback whales are massive and therefore capable of swallowing an entire adult human being. This is exactly what happened to Michael Packer, who was diving off the coast in Cape Cod in Massachusetts. The man was swallowed whole by the whale. He spent a few minutes inside the whale's mouth before it decided to spit him out. Fortunately, he didn't suffer any major injuries except for a dislocated knee. The man has been going for lobster dives for 30 years and he surely was not expecting to become whale food. He later told reporters that he forced himself to escape. He also confessed to initially thinking he'd been swallowed by a shark, but soon realized it had no teeth and that he could get out. 1.1 million pounds of vomit gold. The fortunes of a group of fishermen drastically changed when they discovered something of a treasure inside the carcass of a sperm whale they'd found. When they opened the whale, they couldn't believe their eyes. Staring right back at them was almost £1.5 million worth of ambergris. It's a sort of solidified whale vomit that's utilized in the manufacturing of perfumes. There were about 35 fishermen in the group that found the whale in the southern province of Aden. They spotted it floating in the Gulf of Aden and they decided to drag it to the shore in a little boat. When they approached the carcass, they noticed a strong smell, which they assumed was caused by some sort of disease or decomposition. Despite being nauseating and unpleasant, the smell caused by the whale vomit is worth millions. Ambergris is often called vomit gold or floating gold, and it is a grey or black waxy substance that forms in the intestines of sperm whales over many years. It's used by the luxury perfume industry as a preservative of the scent. The fishermen who found the 127-kilogram lump of ambergris decided to equally divide the money they made selling this strange but valuable substance. Some of the money was also given to other people living in their village called Al-Kessa that is home to many war refugees. We hope you enjoyed learning about these bizarre incidents of animals eating what they shouldn't. Tell us which of these did you find most terrifying. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll be back soon with more amazing stories.